In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, Central Steering Committee on Corruption holds 26th session. And later on, floods responsible for 13 deaths and multiple injuries in VTV4 province. In our world news, UN Security Council holds emergency meeting on the Middle East issues.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lilin Lei with the latest updates. Now, on Wednesday morning, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm chaired the 26th session of the Central Steering Committee on Corruption and Anti-Corruption. Members reviewed progress reports for the first half of the year, set priorities for the remainder, gave updates on cases monitored since the 25th session, and provided an overview of the activities of the provincial steering committees. Despite numerous challenges, including the significant loss of General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, the committee reaffirmed its commitment to combating corruption and negativity. This ongoing work remains crucial for enhancing public trust and maintaining governance integrity. On the same day, the Government Standing Committee, chaired by Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, convened to review 3 important law projects: the amended law on public investment, amendments to laws related to planning, investment, public-private partnerships, and bidding, and amendments to laws concerning budget management, public assets, national reserves, and accounting, and independent auditing, securities, and tax management. The Prime Minister emphasized that these revisions are crucial for implementing resolutions from the Party, National Assembly, and government. They aim to drive strategic breakthroughs, enhance anti-corruption efforts, and reform administrative processes. He also stressed the need for ministries to prioritize and complete these drafts swiftly for submission to the National Assembly's 8th session, highlighting the urgency and importance of this work. Also on Wednesday morning, the National Assembly Standing Committee reviewed the draft law on fire prevention, firefighting, and rescue. The committee welcomed new regulations for residential and commercial buildings, but called for more detailed provisions to reduce damage as seen in recent fire incidents. Recommendations included ensuring that new regulations are reasonable and don't unnecessarily increase compliance costs. The committee agreed to include a provision in the draft law addressing existing facilities that don't meet fire safety requirements. There were also calls to add regulations for fire ladders in high-rise buildings and technical floors for rescue operations. Additionally, the committee considered revisions to the draft law on value-added tax to address fraud and invoice trading. Vietnamese agricultural products now reach 180 countries and territories. However, despite efforts to meet market demands, Vietnam received 57 warnings from the European Union, or EU, in the first half of this year. These warnings mainly concerned fruits, vegetables, spices, seafood, and other food products. The primary issue is excessive pesticide residues. Consequently, tightening quality control in growing areas is crucial.
Over 180 hectares of durian are ready for harvest. The cultivation and care processes adhere to global GAP standards, meeting export requirements for the Chinese market. After harvesting, the durians will undergo processing and chemical residue checks before shipping.
The company uses high-quality fertilizers. We also adhere to the isolation period to ensure harvest safety. It's more demanding compared to traditional procedures, but to meet the requirements, we must closely follow the rules.
For Vietnamese pomelo to successfully enter the South Korean market, it must pass through 8 control steps, ranging from registering a growing area code to clearing import inspection in South Korea.
South Korea has strict regulations regarding agricultural imports. If pests or live flies are found, the shipment will be halted, and its growing area will be banned from export.
Major export markets like the EU, China and Japan regularly update regulations on food safety and maximum pesticide residue levels for each product. Sometimes sudden changes can catch businesses off guard if they are not well informed about each market.
Importing countries have stringent requirements for chemical residue. That is also our top concern, so we are helping farmers follow the rules.
Understanding and adhering to importing countries' technical requirements is crucial. Failure to do so can create barriers for businesses, potentially negating their market entry efforts. Therefore, understanding and complying with each market's regulations is essential for smooth exports, particularly for agricultural products.
To enhance the quality of agricultural exports, the Prime Minister approved a project in June to strengthen the enforcement of the WTO Agreement on Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures, or SPS, and SPS commitments within FTAs. This project aims to open new export markets for Vietnamese agricultural products.
Starting in July, Vietnam's instant noodles gain official exemption from food safety controls in the EU. This success follows the sector's earlier achievement in removing various spices from the same list.
This result comes from intersectoral coordination between the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the Vietnam Permanent Mission to the United Nations to work with the EU. In particular, production facilities have put significant efforts into controlling input materials, preliminary processing, and product processing.
The newly approved project on implementing SPS standards aims to complete the local SPS system by 2025. This system will provide better support for businesses and cooperatives in meeting export market requirements. Additionally, 80% of Vietnam's key products are slated to have a business handbook. By 2030, Vietnam aims to synchronize national standards and technical regulations on food safety and the quality of agricultural, forestry, and fishery products.
Provinces and cities play crucial roles in disseminating information to enterprises and cooperatives. Meanwhile, localities must also strengthen their quality control and inspection.
Enterprises meeting these requirements gain the opportunity to integrate deeply into the international market. Additionally, Vietnam's agricultural products must enhance their adaptability to meet the rising demands from international markets, particularly the EU, regarding environmental factors, sustainable development, and labor practices.
The Customs Information Technology System is currently overloaded, highlighting the need for a comprehensive digital transformation program. That has been a priority for the customs sector for several years, aimed at facilitating the rapidly growing import and export activities.
At this custom branch, over 3,000 enterprises submit approximately 62,000 declarations annually. Despite a small staff, the implementation of the automatic custom clearance systems and other supporting IT systems has significantly reduced both the time required for good clearance and the cost for businesses.
With the growing volume of goods and the rising number of declarations processed by the unit, connection issues frequently occur, causing delays. As a result, the branch is seeking an upgraded IT system to better meet customers' increasing demands.
The General Department of Customs has developed several contingency plans, and the Ministry of Finance has approved a project to build an IT system for digital customs. This initiative is crucial for enhancing custom clearance processes and serve as the foundation for accelerating digital transformations within the industry.
We plan to implement big data and artificial intelligence to enhance management procedures through AI. Additionally, we aim to establish connections with ministry, localities, and the national single window. Our focus will be on the collaborating with enterprises to manage specific sector and custom areas, working towards the development of smart borders and smart customs in partnership with neighboring countries.
The project is awaiting funding to develop a modern information technology system that will address the limitations of the current system. This upgrade is expected to boost import and export activities and improve the effectiveness of state management and customs.
The Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee has approved a project to transform the city into a prominent service center in the region, focusing on high-end, modern, and high-value-added services. This initiative aims to address current limitations and significantly advance the service industry. Over the past decade, Ho Chi Minh City has maintained its status as a key service hub and a growth pole for the country. The service sector has been the fastest to recover and has contributed the most to the city's GRDP growth post-COVID-19, accounting for nearly 66% of the economic structure in the first half of this year. Now, before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. Floods in Vĩnh Phúc lead to deaths and injuries. And later on, Westlake Lotus tea making recognized as National Intangible Cultural Heritage. Recent heavy rains in Vĩnh Phúc have resulted in severe flooding, lead to 3 deaths and 13 injuries. Over the past 3 days, rainfall has reached up to 200 millimeters in some areas, causing significant damage. In Hai Lieu commune, a landslide triggered by the heavy rain caused a house to collapse, resulting in 1 death and 10 injuries. Additionally, 2 days ago, floods near Tam Dao National Park swept 2 individuals away, whose bodies have since been recovered. The Provincial Steering Committee for Natural Disaster and Prevention and Search and Rescue is actively managing the situation. From Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, the northern region and Thanh Hoa province experienced thunderstorms and heavy rainfall ranging from 55 to 125 millimeters. In Tam Văn commune, Lang Cheng district, Thanh Hoa, the intense rainfall caused floodings and landslides on Provincial Road 530B. The Tuyên Quang hydropower reservoir will open a bottom spillway at noon today. Residents in Tuyên Quang, Phu Tho, Vĩnh Phúc, and Hanoi should be on alert for potential flooding. Today's forecast predicts more thunderstorms in the north, with possible rainfall exceeding 70 millimeters and continued heavy rain in Thanh Hoa and Nghệ An. Meanwhile, the central region stretching from Thanh Hoa to Ninh Thuận will see hot weather, with temperatures ranging from 35 to 37 degrees Celsius and some areas surpassing 38 degrees Celsius. For the first time, a program aimed at enhancing cooperation between young officers of the Vietnam Border Guard and the National Immigration Administration of China was organized. The program took place in Quảng Ninh and Hanoi, featuring many practical activities. This initiative provided young officers of both forces with an opportunity to connect, share experiences, and strengthen the special bond between the border forces of the 2 countries.
Disseminating laws to people living along the Vietnam-China border is an important activity in the exchange program between the young officers of the Vietnam Border Guard and the National Immigration Administration of China. Citizens were informed about entry and exit regulations, as well as key documents signed by the 2 countries to protect and develop the border area.
The citizens are very supportive of this dissemination program. They strictly follow the 3 border agreements between the 2 countries. Although this was the first time an exchange was held, officers from both sides felt a deep and sincere bond with each other.
Young border officers of both countries also demonstrated their youthful spirit and creativity by organizing seminars to share ideas on administrative reform, IT applications, and the development of smart and digital border gates.
Through this exchange, we aim to strengthen connections and learning activities and build a strong bond of mutual support, especially in managing entry and exit at border gates.
Since 2020, the young officers of both sides have conducted 63 joint patrols and coordinated efforts to combat border crimes.
We believe that activities like this will have practical benefits. The border protection forces of the two countries will contribute their intelligence and strength to building peaceful and friendly border gates and promoting prosperity in both nations.
Vietnam and China share a border of over 1,400 kilometers long, with 19 pairs of border gates. In recent years, young border officers from both sides have played a vital role in coordinating management efforts, contributing to the maintenance of a peaceful and friendly border.
In recent years, Quy Nhơn City in Bình Định Province has made a lasting impression on visitors, earning recognition twice as an ASEAN Clean Tourist City. This achievement stems largely from the city's well-planned development of public and green spaces.
Quy Nhơn currently boasts over 60,000 public trees. The city also has more than 100 hectares of green parks, including many large parks.
Every ward has several parks, not just one. On every 1 or 2 streets, there is a park.
To build a greener Quy Nhơn, the Bình Định People's Committee has tasked the city with planting 4,000 new trees annually and developing 3 to 4 hectares of parks each year.
The company has proactively advised the City People's Committee to build new parks whenever land is available. This serves to attract tourists.
As a result, Quy Nhön's green space now exceeds 33% of the total urban area, making it one of the cities with the highest green space density in the central region and across the country.
Recently, community tourism has revitalized many villages and rural areas across Vietnam. By highlighting indigenous culture and stunning natural landscapes, numerous localities are embracing sustainable tourism to create new livelihoods. We'll take a closer look at how this is unfolding in the Quan Sơn Mountainous District of Thanh Hóa Province. Located in Chang Village, Xuân Thủy Commune, Quan Sơn District, Bo Cung Cave was formed around 4 million years ago and is situated 420 meters above sea level, stretching over 1 kilometer in length. The British Royal Cave Association reports that only about 5 caves worldwide feature stalactites like those in Bo Cung Cave.
While many parts of the cave remain unexplored, the areas we've been allowed to visit have revealed some truly remarkable natural wonders.
Visitors to the mountainous region can experience the unique culture of the Thai ethnic group. In Nham Village, Sơn Điện Commune, over half of the households live here, or roughly 45, actively participating in community tourism. They are organized into 5 groups to manage and enhance the tourist experience.
The village has 5 groups covering tourism activities like weaving, cuisine, homestays, performing arts, and brocade weaving. Residents understand that community tourism is closely tied to their daily lives.
Our bamboo weaving group always presents guests with souvenirs, including baskets, shells, and bags adorned with unique brocade patterns.
Tourism is a key driver of economic development in Quan Sơn District. It not only boosts local income, but also helps preserve and promote the traditional cultural values of ethnic groups.
We focus on developing ecotourism and community tourism, with the costumes of the Thai ethnic group and handicraft villages being major attractions.
Located near the Nam Nho border gate, Thanh Hóa Province in Vietnam and Hủa Phăn Province in Laos have jointly developed the Quan Sơn Viếng Sai Tour. This collaborative effort offers unique experiences for both domestic and international tourists. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has just recognized Westlake lotus tea making as a national intangible cultural heritage. This recognition will help to protect rare lotus species and keep the long-standing tradition alive. Our report from Westlake, where skilled artisans continue to preserve this beloved Hanoi craft.
Nguyễn Thị Dân is 101 years old this year, the oldest person in Quảng An, Tây Hồ. Every year, when the lotus season comes from June to August, her family gathers to brew lotus tea, also known as the most premium tea of time.
I have been selling lotus flowers since I was 20. I did it during the resistance war against the French and Americans. I'm the only one alive following this craft. To make 1 kilogram of tea, we need to harvest 100 lotuses. It takes months to brew them.
Hanoi has expanded growing areas for Bạch Diệp lotus, or sacred lotus, and established a dossier for the Westlake lotus tea making as a national intangible cultural heritage listing. The dossier includes the value of Bạch Diệp lotus, the tea making process, as well as many pieces of historical research, interviews with artisans, and findings on the potential for conservation and development of tea making.
When recognized as a national intangible cultural heritage, artisans will appreciate its values more. This is also a beautiful cultural feature in modern life.
Westlake currently has 18 small lakes with about 20 hectares of water surface area that can grow lotuses. But the rapid urbanization and pollution have caused the available lotus growing area to shrink. The recognition of Tây Hồ lotus tea making as a national intangible cultural heritage contributes to preserving the traditional profession in Hanoi.
Coming up next in our world news. UN Security Council holds emergency meeting on the Middle East. And later on, study finds evidence of the vast amount of liquid water underground on Mars. Now moving on to our world news, the United Nations is witnessing alarming developments and increasing tensions in the Middle East, according to UN Secretary General for Political and Peace-Building Affairs Rosemary DiCarlo. She stressed the need for all parties involved in the Gaza conflict to avoid statements and actions that could escalate the situation. DiCarlo called for prioritizing the protection of civilians and property, as well as ensuring compliance with international humanitarian law. The UN welcomed the mediation efforts of the United States, Egypt, and Qatar, and urged both sides to rejoin negotiations and conclude the ceasefire and hostages release deal. Consequently, the United States on Tuesday approved $20 billion in arms sales to Israel. According to the Pentagon's statement, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken approved the sale of 50 F-15 fighter jets and equipment worth nearly $19 billion. The first deliveries are expected in 2029. Israel will also buy nearly 33,000 tank cartridges, up to 50,000 explosive mortar cartridges, and new military cargo vehicles. The State Department's announcement also reaffirmed the United States' commitment to Israel's security. This decision to provide weapons comes as the U.S. president is urging Israel and Hamas to agree to a ceasefire after 10 months of conflict. The air forces of Germany, France, and Spain participated in a multilateral air exercise in Tarang Shakti, India on Tuesday. The latest generation fighter aircraft participated in the exercise. The event served as a platform for the Indian Air Force to demonstrate its operational capabilities, foster collaboration, and reinforce strategic ties between nations. According to a French Air Force Brigadier General, the European countries' participation in the exercise demonstrates their interest in Indo-Pacific security. Scientists announced on Monday that for the first time they have found evidence of liquid water on Mars. The water is believed to be buried in cracks several miles under the red planet's surface. This is the best evidence yet that Mars still has liquid water in addition to frozen water at its pole. More on this in the following story.
One of the authors of a study released this week said that there is evidence of a vast amount of liquid water in Mars's deep subsurface. The research uses data from NASA's Mars Insight lander.
Our study findings do not say anything about whether there is or is not life on the planet. The only thing we can say is that a key ingredient for life as we know it and for habitability exists from 11 to 20 kilometers right now and has likely existed for billions of years.
The InSight lander, which has been on the Red Planet since 2018, measured seismic data for over 4 years, examining how quakes shook the ground and determining what materials or substances were beneath the surface. The InSight mission has a seismometer that records ground motion at the surface. The study takes the speed of sound, speed of seismic wave data, and the existing gravity data. The study found that large reservoirs of liquid water beneath the surface best explain the InSight measurements.
We're also learning about a planet that used to look similar to what our planet looks like currently. And here we have a model for what happens to water when it leaves the surface after our planet loses its atmosphere.
There is no way to directly study water that deep beneath the surface of Mars, with Wright saying that drilling to get there would be challenging. However, this new research paves the way for future studies into Mars's habitability and the search for life somewhere besides Earth. The findings were published the week of August 12th in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences.
Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast. And that is all that we have this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app, VTVgo, for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.